Our society today, globally, is so divided that if I say wife versus partner, or I say it goes in this order, I think. So there's wife. Oh, old guy checked out, doesn't get it. Or one of my tribe. Either way, either way. Like, oh, now I know. Oh, that's who he is. He said wife. Or if I say spouse, oh, he's one of those. Or if I say partner, then this group over here is like, oh, I hate him. And this other group is like, oh, yeah, he's one of us. What's he wearing? Oh, North Face. Well, this looks like New Balance from the 70s. It came back. I noticed that. That tells us a lot about him. Oh, look at him. Um, Now we can figure him out. Now we can know what he's going to say because we already know based on what he says, what he looks like, and the words that are chosen carefully. The know, like, and trust best practices and approaches are all the same after a while. After a while, it's all the same. And I thought, I can't do it like this. It won't work for me. Why? Because I don't look at my life and I don't look at my business as another opportunity to figure out how to find a pond and extract money out of it so I can have more money, purpose, satisfaction, and happiness in my own life. I don't want to do that anymore. The know, like, and trust best practices, if I adopt them and I understand them, believe me, I've been around it long enough in enough industries where it's just blurs. Like, oh, that signature method, another signature method, another signature. After a while, I'm like, I get the theme of know, like, and trust. And I can't do it because I don't want the result that comes if I succeed. This puts me outside the group fully and squarely in the current society, online, not outside the world, because there's a lot of people who don't want any part of any of it. But I do because I love it. That's why I'm doing it all, because I love it. It's a passion. It's always been this way for me. I denied it for years. Denied it. No, business is horrible. Why do I have to be in business? Marketing, sales, business development. Why do I have to do this? Why can't I just be like an economist or have a real job? A real job or career, a real career where they tell me what to do and what to think. And I have a playbook of some sort. This never happened. It never will happen. Thank God, because it's not who I am. That's why. How to explain things is a challenge in this society if you're trying to do something within your market that doesn't accept the assumptions that others accept in the market. I'm not talking about in the world, but in your market. The belief systems are embedded really deep. The know, like, and trust belief system is deep about how that's supposed to work. And you start pulling back on those threads and fibers, people get upset. No, don't do it like that. You're criticizing us. Like, no, I'm not criticizing you. I refuse to go along with that approach, but I can't figure out how to explain it because I haven't figured it out yet. It's worse in some ways for me personally because I've adopted an approach that I saw back in the 2000s called build it in public. And that really took off during the pandemic, but it started a lot earlier. At least, I mean, it's probably been around forever since people were invented. Since we human beings were here. There, you can go back to the caveman days, women days, cave days. See, again, right there, caveman. I said it. I have to catch myself. Um, what's the language? I say one word. You say one word. They've decided. What's they? Doesn't exist. That's the whole point. There's just a bunch of people. There's no they. There's no categories. It's made up. Um, I was taught to think in these categories. I worked in it, sold to those companies, Experian, Axiom, TransUnion, purchased that data. I didn't, but companies I worked for did. And I tried to figure out how it all worked. And the more and the deeper I got, I thought, this doesn't make any sense. I get it works. And I'm going to use an example. I'm going to tell stories because it's the only way I can explain it from my own experience. And it's been pretty clear to me I'm confusing to a lot of other people. And the person who tells me that the most, that I listen to the most or don't, is my wife, spouse, partner. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I know, I know, I know. Well, you need to get an editor. Nope, got to build it in public. Can't edit yet. It's not done. When it's done, then you get an editor. And I wrote a book called No Way Back in 2009 that was a smash sensation on Amazon. I sold 24 copies, and all the reviews were friends. I said, hey, you review my book? I don't know. Sure. What the hell? What should I say? You want me to write it for you? Sure. But before you post it, make sure if somebody asks, you'll say, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's cool. I can do that. And then I put all of their testimonials up on LinkedIn and in the book, in the front of the book. I don't know if they're still true. I don't know if they were even true at the time. This is part of the point of where I'm going. I don't know how else to explain this stuff except just explain it by telling the stories of it, the formation of it. And there's a principle in there too. A guy named Eugene Schwartz talks about this a lot in a book called Beyond Advertising. But if I use it like Beyond Advertising, I just trap myself and I fell flat on my face. How do I know that? Because I tried. Didn't work. Fell flat in my face. So why did I do that book? Because I had an idea that I was executing on in the market for a long time. And I was seeing things happening in the market on an idea that I was executing on for a long time. And I thought, there's something here in this idea. And at the time, it's a simple idea of, if there's no way back because you don't want to go work for somebody else, you better figure it out. And if you take money from people, then they own your company. And I didn't want that to happen to me. It's happened to a lot of people. It happened to Google. And the end is sad to me. I just triggered most of the society. I don't think so. I think we all know this. I think we all know this. Who do you trigger when you say things like that? People in the industry, because they're in an embedded belief system around know, like, and trust. Everyone else is like, I know Google sucks. And I'll give you an example through stories, a couple of examples from the last couple of days. So if you're in the industry, you'll be less triggered because you're like, yeah, I know. My wife's like, you talk in circles. I know. It's getting clear. It's got to get clear to me first. Then it'll get clear to other people. But I have to be able to explain it to myself first. My way of doing that was just to do it. Put up content. All right. I've been doing it for years. How are my metrics? How are my KPIs? Terrible. They were great back in 2019 and 2020 when it was new. And I was crushing it on LinkedIn. The metrics were great. They were going like this. Now they're going, then they went like this. Now they're like this. And I don't care because it doesn't matter, because I know what I'm doing is going to work, because I feel it. It's connected. It takes a while though. It's hard, but it's fun if you're in the right playground. That's the problem, is, am I in the right market, in the right domain, in the right area of expertise? I've always been the same, doing the same thing. But I read No Way Back, my book, yesterday, and I was like, "Oh god, I feel so bad for that guy." My 2019, 2016, 17, 18, and 19 self. And I'm like, "This book's not bad." I feel bad for him, me. I don't even know him anymore, but I know him because I've integrated that into my world. I tried to cut it out. I wanted to get rid of it. I'm like, "I don't wanna do that stuff anymore. I wanna be a philosopher or professor of something." Well, I've found out what now? This stuff. And this stuff meaning business development, sales, entrepreneurship, bootstrapping, hustling, not hustling, inner development, shadow work, uh, being in 12-step meeting groups, um, traveling around the world, having no idea where I'm going or where I am, all that stuff. Being an original, living an original life. That's what I'm an expert in because I did it from the time I was a kid. I could not follow anybody, couldn't do it. I tried hard because I felt like I had to. I know why now. I didn't know why. I'm going to tie this back to Google. Uh, our basement flooded again. No, that was the other house. I know a lot about houses. Um, Basement flooded, and the plumbing work has been so extensive. I can't find a decent plumber. Private equity rolled up our plumbing company along with a lot of other plumbing companies around the region where I live. I looked them up. I'm like, what is wrong with this plumbing company? They don't know what they're doing. Nobody in this company knows what they're doing anymore. It was a great company. I'm going to say the name. It's called American Vintage Home, and it's part of a roll up. And I haven't looked at all the details yet. So I'm not attacking these people. I'm expressing my experience of being a part of what they've done. And this happened to me in the 90s. I worked for a marketing communications agency called Avid Group, and they were part of a roll up too, private equity money that rolled up all these little marketing agencies. And they had a target market, and they did the know, like, and trust thing, and they rolled them up. And I was the first one to quit. One meeting, and I quit. I'm out. Like, I'm not doing this. And I have nothing against the three founders that gave me a job and tried and trusted me, draw plus commission. And my boss was like, he called himself the vice president in charge of lunch. What a great company. It got to 70 people. Big loft building downtown Chicago and River North area. It was super cool. I was lucky to be there. Lucky that I got that. But I made that happen. I networked into it. And they said no the first round. I went to another company, succeeded, and I went back to him. And he said yes. And he hired me. And immediately I created a total clusterfuck in the company. Immediately, like the first month. So he's like, uh-oh, what have we done? I was like, you hired a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. I thought you were going to know all this stuff. No, I just went and got the clients. I didn't know how to do anything with I had no idea. Isn't that what I'm supposed to do? It was a great experience for me. And I lasted 5 years, and then they sold it and they made a lot of money. I don't blame them at all. Everyone quit after a few years because the private equity people were useless. They're good at money. They know about money. They know how to invest money. They know how to make money. They know how to do a roll up. It just happened again in the plumbing industry. And now they're doing it in dentistry. Oh my, that's scary. And that was the conversation. I went to the dentist yesterday, upper left. I have a good dentist. She knows what she's doing. And there's a local company that's doing one of these things, and it's owned by a dentist. And I looked him up, and and they got a guy from Booth, their CFO, and I'm like, it's a popularity contest dentistry office using social influence. And me, I'm like, oh no, I know the inside story because I talked to a dentist and a hygienist who are both good about it, and they're like, Larry, this is bad, and they don't know the difference. They're talking about not millennials, but Z, Gen Z. She says they don't know the difference. She's trying to put this filling in. She's drilling into my serious dentistry. Same with plumbing. And I'm going to get into the flooding basement Google story in a minute. And this connects into know, like, and trust big time. You'll see in a minute. She says, it's an easy appointment. It'll be about 30 minutes. And I go in. She says, let's make an hour just in case. So I had an hour. So I'm sitting there. It's not going in right, but it was in. It wasn't right for her. It was fine. It wasn't right. She wouldn't stop. My jaw's still sore. She's like, it's not right. I say, whatever you need, just do it. I'm good. I trust you. I can trust her. I would not trust that other dentist. They look great though. It's a big story with lots of happy, smiley people on their website. I see the know, like, and trust strategy they're using and the target market strategy. I see through it so fast because I've been in it forever. Dentistry is important. Plumbing is important. Quality matters long term. Google is not, okay, now I'm getting into the triggering part of my persona, of my own genetic code stuff, of provocation, of fighting, of opinionating. That's me doing that. I know that. Transmute it into what? Thought, love, connection, physical connection to energy in the Earth's system, to the universal connection of energy. Bring that through into the world as a creative project. That's where quality comes from. Is that what they're doing in this dentist office, in this plumbing company, and in the water remediation industry, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and Google? No, they're not. What are they doing? What I just talked about, know, like, and trust, drawing concentric circles around, this is my target market. Know, like, and trust best practices. I'm going to read this now, and we're going to get into how to use social media, digital groups, and networking events. So I go in circles. I can't help it. Know, like, and trust best practices requires one to become known, liked, and trusted within a target market of avatars, suspects, and prospects. What if the product's terrible? What does terrible mean? Impact. When do you measure the impact? History measures. We don't get to measure. My KPIs, it's just an intermediary metric. Google's KPIs, intermediary metric. Who measures Google? History. The story of history measures Google. Was that successful? When I first saw it, when I was working in that little agency on our design director's computer, I was like, I walked by, I was like, what's that? I'd already seen it. That's right. I'd already seen it. He's like, this one's better. I said, and I trusted him because he spent all day long doing this kind of stuff. He's like, I said, what about this other stuff? There was, what was it called? Ask Jeeves and Yahoo. And it's like, no, this one's better. I was done. That's it. I'm using Google now. I was in. I think that was year 2, maybe year 3. I'm like, this is fabulous. You get all the good stuff. And then they took money from Sequoia Capital. And the ads are fine. It was great. I got in the industry. I started selling marketing technology years later. I went to their events. I talked about it all the time. I loved it. It was fun. HubSpot was big, Content Inc., all that stuff was coming into the market. Facebook was turning into an ad network. They were all connecting these things. Now, look at it. I can't even figure out what's real. This is what I'm saying. This is the know, like, and trust problem. What's the impact long term? Larry and Sergey got their submarines. and the models and the boats and the spaceships, and they got to do all the cool stuff. What about the rest of us? And I look at me and I'm like, I can't even figure out what's real on this thing, the system. It's a mess. Now the AI is helping, but you know, you had enough money to get the product right. Now I'm going to explain this specifically so you can understand it if you're a detail person. So my basement floods. Why? Because I live in an area that we're used to snow in February and January. Now what does it do? It rains. Where does the water go when the ground's frozen? Anybody who lives in Houston knows. When you destroy the natural environmental system, it doesn't work right anymore. The hydroelectric engineers or whoever the hell built this thing, civil engineering companies probably, who built this infrastructure where I live, doesn't work right anymore. I can't find a decent plumber because of the roll up from the private equity companies. And all how do I know? The plumbers told me. They're like, I don't want to work for those people. And the technology's a mess. They don't know how to use it right because they don't have the right kind of people who understand how to do tagging in a CRM system. So it's just a mess. It's so confusing for the customer, me in this case, with water in my basement. So I go to Google, forget the plumbing. That's a whole another long. I have a story in every single industry personally. And I know how it all works because I've been in all those other industries. And even in the industries, I sold insurance for a year. So I know how the insurance industry works. I know how the construction industry works. I know how mortgage industry works from inside. So I can see and connect these dots behind the scenes. Same with Google. So I'm thinking, okay, we got water in the basement. I don't need a plumber because I already know what's going on with my plumbing. And there's a lake in the street. So the water's going somewhere. Where? It came up in a drain. We plugged one. It came up. Our plumbing system's fine. It came up in a drain in a storage closet. I'm like, damn it, we should have plugged that. Well, the guy said don't because long term, no, I want to keep the water out of my basement now. He can't think. And he was one of the good plumbers. Now I know plumbers are not hired for their thinking strategic skills. It's not an industry specialty. They're good at other things. Somebody said, you know what a plumber is? They're really good at digging holes and figuring out how to do really hard stuff and getting it done. That's hard. Oh, that's what plumbers do. Wow, I get it. That's really hard. But somebody's got to come up from the company and say, those people are gone. So I got a name of a good plumber now. Hopefully, we'll see. They got to prove it to me now. I can tell quick, though. This is what happened on Google. So I got water in my basement. What do I need? Water remediation company. I've been through this before. When I worked for an insurance company, I know how it works on that side. And I know how it works as a homeowner in multiple homes that flood because basements flood. What do we do in the United States? We make extra rooms in our basements. And then we wonder why they flood. Well, it's a basement. It's going to flood, especially if you're in like city of Chicago. I'm north. It's still going to flood now because of the ground's frozen. So it floods. What do? I go to Google. I know the basement water remediation companies, ServPro, ServiceMaster, I think are the two big ones. And there's a bunch of other ones. And I'm like, I know what's going to happen if I call these places. They're going to send out a crew that doesn't know what they're doing. And then I'm going to have to do it. My instinct is go do it myself. Always. I just go do it. Wrong. Because it's a specialized skill to do something like this. It's hard. It's a lot involved, a lot of thinking. Do it right. Figure out where I'll put all the stuff, clean it up. The guy shows up. I knew it. Google shows up. It's all this crap, all this marketing stuff. And I'm looking, and I saw him. I saw his picture. Sure enough, he showed up. I call him. I text him. No response. And I get 10 minutes later, hey, can I call you back? I'm in an attic. And I'm like, got it. Found him. Screw you, Google. I know how it works. I can get around your system. And I'm like, uh-oh, what if he's booked? Because he's good. So he's probably booked. I thought, damn it. So I said, "I just need to know, like, are you" he was fine. So he texted me back and I explained the situation. I sent him a bunch of pictures and I'm like, "I hope he understand." I knew he knew what he was doing. And, he's only been in the industry for 4 years, but he sold for IBM for years, and then he sold for, I think it was Emerson. So I'm like, "Oh, you're like me. You're one of these people. Reinvent, 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 reinvent." We used to be called survivors. Now I think we're called thrivers. Now we're called impactors because you do that long enough, you get strong, you get invincible. He's invincible. He comes to the front door. "How are you?" We're talking. We go down in the basement. He explained to me what was going on. When I showed him what I thought was going on, we had a real conversation. He brought his work crew. One guy's a refugee. I'm glad he's got a job. And I felt bad he wouldn't look me in the eye. I looked him in the eye, shaked his hand, asked him his name. He wouldn't look at me. I felt bad for him that he feels shame for being a refugee. It's hard. Congratulations, you got out, and you got out legally too. He was part of a legal resettlement program. And then the other guy in his crew, talked to him for a long time because we know the neighborhoods of Chicago. And he knows Jiffy Lube sucks too because he worked there. So I told him about, he's like, "They don't know what they're doing." I said, "I know. I know. Why do you think their sales are down?" He didn't work at Jiffy Lube. He worked at another one. And I'm like, "I know. I don't want to go to the dealer. They're going to overcharge me. I get it." He said, "Yeah, yeah, I know. I know." I said, "You know this place called iHeart? 3 locations, I think." I walk in with my old Lexus. I'm not driving my dad's car. He died of Lewy body dementia, so I don't want a new car. So I wanted that car to work. It's a longer story. I have too many stories. I can't go in circles. It's hard to say all this because I care about it. Bad dentists, bad plumbers, people who don't know what they're doing, winning because of marketing, bad mechanics everywhere. There's an impact on society of this stuff. We're feeling it right now. How do we stop it? We don't. We don't need to stop it. Best product wins. It's happening right now already. People are like looking around and saying, "I don't believe any of this." But you got to step up as best product and show them. And you don't have to do that much, but there's some work involved in this. And how to use social media, digital groups, and networking events is a big part of it. It's important if you want to do that. If you don't, there's strategies where you don't have to, but you're going to have to be uncomfortable for a little while, but not forever. And you do not have to become a marketer, a social media influencer, or a professional networker unless you want to. And those people are having a great time doing it because they're built for it. And maybe that's not your thing. Um, let's see. So the idea of know, like, and trust best practices of becoming known, liked, and trusted within this target market of avatar suspects and prospects. What does that lead to? Conversion of likely personas. The persona converts into hard business dollars. It works when that's defined in limited ways, such as that it delivers on the goals, KPIs, and profits for the business. If you have a dream and a vision, is that what you want to leave as your legacy? If I was Larry and Sergey, I'd want to take the company back again. That's what's going on with Howard Schultz with Starbucks. It's too late. He should go do something else. Is there something wrong with this formula? You decide. Is something missing? You decide. Does it need to be retooled? I've already decided. Should you rethink your relationship with know, like, and trust? Does what it takes to succeed worth the effort? To succeed in that way, is that worth the effort? For me, the answer is no. I'm not destroying my family or myself or my health or my future or my purpose or my vision or my mission for know, like, and trust. I'm not going to do it. Because for me, that's the data. Now, for you, it's different. You may love it. If you're great at marketing and figuring out how to do all that stuff, you should do it. Just put it in service of a purpose. That would be good. And keep the bad money out of the room. I hate to say bad, but I would say money that leads to consequences, that deviates from what you care about and destroys your vision. And if you can manage that money well in the relationship with that money, you'll be fine. For me, I'm finding my own ways to do it so I don't have to take money from people. So it's about you and me. It's us. How do you do it? How do I do it? We all going to do it our own way. So I say it as let's rethink the know, like, and trust formulas. Find your own way through the matrix of beliefs. Where are they? Inside your market. The other people don't, they're like, what's wrong with these people? I showed my mother some stuff on the online influencer economy, and she's like, that's bullshit. I said, I know. I can't, they don't see it. Why? Because we're in it. I couldn't see it. I was in it. Well, I did see it, but I didn't know what to do about it. Find your own way through the matrix of beliefs inside your market. Your market, every market has this, every market, and escape from the seductive traps that slow progress. Um, so this is the fifth week on the red pill pathway, which is my contribution. 130. So the entrepreneur experience is going to be, well, is basically 12 founding members, 12 uh, founding ambassadors, and 12 founding partners. We have our first founding partner finally starting yesterday. So that's 36 people. So I'm 136th of the entrepreneur experience. Red Pill Pathway, brought to you by Entrepreneur Experience, brought to you by Red Pill Pathway, is my contribution. And this is the fifth week on the Red Pill Pathway. And we're working on a soft launch, friends and family only, not to use scarcity principles from persuasion marketing really at all. Not at all. Just because it's going to break. So it's a break fix fun fact.